I'm going to go ahead and hit the record button. Okay, recording now. Go ahead and do your Dennis Mellon promo dealio thing.
Hi, I'm Dennis Mellon, author of Be a Bean. You can find me at beabean. I'm sorry, that's a screw up.
That's
I'm
okay.
not the author of Be a Bean.
That would be cool. Well, you kind of are the author of Be a Bean.
Yeah. Let's try it again.
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, hi, I'm Dennis Mellon, author of Takes More Than Heart. And my website is beabean.net. I specialize in executive coaching, speaking, and I'm an author.
Awesome. Well done, sir. Thank you very much. And you didn't screw up too hard, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hit stop. I'll be right back.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom Vroom Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Sonia Frontera, thank you so much for being on Vroom Vroom Veer and welcome to the show. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you being here. So you are at soniafrontera.com. Talk a little bit about what you're most excited about in your business today.
Well, I wear a lot of different hats.
I know.
I'm an attorney. Yes. And I feel like I have a lot of different heads and they all have migraines.
Ouch.
Yes. So I'm an attorney by trade, but now I'm pivoting towards what I really, really love to do, which is empowering people.
Right.
I'm an author. I have published a couple of books. And what I really enjoy doing is workshops. So I'm dying for COVID to be over. I'm lining up my ducks. The moment this is over, I'm moving forward with live workshops and retreats. Okay. I'm really super excited about that.
That sounds fun. I love workshops. I miss them. I miss getting together with like-minded folks and, just hanging out and, doing the opposite of what people do on the internet,
That's right.
So like, I don't know about you, but I got into this really interesting blog called Wait, But Why? And he had this very long blog post and comparing like an echo chamber to an idea lab. Okay. In an echo chamber, people are just talking to each other and saying the same things over and over again. Right. It's like talking to your audience. So like, and you're not really interested in learning. You're just interested in hearing what you want said over and over and over again. Where in an idea lab, you want to like experiment, right? And every idea is awesome until it's not, right?
Like everything else.
Yeah. It's like, but it's more open and it's about like learning, right? Instead of just saying shit over and over again. So
yeah, learning is good.
I want more idea labs in my life and fewer echo chambers. When I see an echo chamber, I just go the other way. I don't need to go in there. I've already heard what they said. Yeah. Okay, so this is Vroom Vroom Veer. So that means we have to go back in time and talk about Sonia growing up. So where did you grow up and what was your childhood like?
I grew up in Puerto Rico. And that's right.
Nice.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, very nice and warm. I live close to the beach.
Nice.
Yes. So I had a very non-remarkable childhood, kind of very sheltered. I was a very candy-ass kid.
Candy-ass. Okay. Gotcha.
Totally candy-assed. Yeah. Yeah. So it was like a non-remarkable. I was the
siblings,
kind of kid
no siblings?
I have a brother with whom I didn't get along.
Okay.
What if he listens to this?
What's the age difference? That's okay. He already knows you didn't get along. He's aware.
We still don't.
He was there when you didn't get along, so he's aware.
He knows.
He knows.
Yes, he knows. But I'm taking it out into the world. I don't know.
It's okay.
Yes. So yes, I had a sibling. He was 2 years older.
Okay.
Me.
All right. And
yeah. So
my brother was 3 years older than me, and my sister was 6 years older than me. So yeah, I had the classic brother sibling rivalry. It was more like he was just torturing me. But
That's
we
what
got over
siblings
it though.
do.
Yeah, exactly. We got over it. I was the asshole that showed up and broke his toys. I get it. I get
Yes.
it. And he was the big jerk that I had to wear all of his clothes,
Oh, that sucks.
It's weird though, because at some point, like I think when I was like 14, 15, when you get to that age where you start thinking about girls in a new and interesting way, right? Then I started sort of admiring him, right?
Ooh.
Right. I was like, wait a minute. Girls like him? It was like this question mark. It was like, why? He's evil, And then I was like, okay. So I had like 2 years where I thought everything he did was awesome, right? It was like a whole 180 from like the first 13 years. So anyway, growing up is awesome for everybody, and it's always crazy and insane and traumatic. So unremarkable. I know you went to college, but let's spend a little bit of time. What was high school like for you? So were you like a cool kid? Were you a nerd? Did you fit into a stereotype? Were you an athletic person?
Please. I was a nerd.
All right.
I was a total nerd.
So what sort of nerd?
Are there sorts of nerds?
Oh yeah. So I guess the classic definition would be super academic would be my guess, but I don't know. What sort of nerd were you?
Super academic.
Okay, there you go.
There was no band in my school, so I didn't play band.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Sure. Okay. So just really bookwormy nerd.
Totally.
Okay. All right. So just you had to get A's, and if you got an A-, it was a problem.
Yeah. It was devastating. It's really funny. And in high school, I wasn't getting hundreds in every exam, but when I was younger, I had to get 100.
Yes.
Or I would be disappointed.
Right.
And then people would look at me like, you bitch,
Perfection. Yeah.
Yeah. That was not a good thing.
No. It's weird. I just thought of this the other day. Like when we're young, I know I had several examples of things that happen that like when you're really young that you think will ruin you forever. It's like, oh no, I was perfect until that moment. And now I'm ruined forever. Did you go through this?
No, I don't think so. But, now when it really matters, it's just great. It's very liberating. I mean, like, look at all these people who've been in scandals. It's like Jeffrey Toobin is back on TV.
What? I don't know what that means. Who's Jeffrey Toobin?
I
don't watch the news, so I don't.
Oh God, he was the one caught pleasuring himself while he was on TV on a Zoom call.
All right.
Yeah,
oh, lovely.
so he was taken off the air and now he's back.
Okay.
So it's like
all is
goes.
forgiven now, huh?
Yes, Elliot Spitzer, all these people.
Okay.
It's redemption is the thing now.
This is how I learn
matters.
about what's going on in the world. I have a podcast.
And you have me, so you get to know through me.
I've heard of this dude. I didn't know his name, but I've heard about that guy got jerking off on Zoom.
I didn't want to put it that way.
So I have a question. Sorry. Was he at home or in the office?
I guess his own home office. It's the COVID era. People do everything at home.
I had heard somebody else told me a story about that's why he got in trouble, because he was in the office and not at home. So I think it would be a harder case to make that it's a bad thing that he's jerking off at home while he's in a meeting. He's
working.
Okay, but so.
Well, he's at home. So he got caught. He's
at home, though, right? I mean, he's at home, right?
Well, you're supposed to be working.
Well, you can be in, like, how many meetings have you been in where you could say, I could probably be multitasking at this moment, right? I mean, we all do it. Some meetings you actually participate in, and there you don't want to multitask. A lot of them I'm working because I'm required to be at the meeting, but I'm not required to speak. So I just basically go into the meeting, hit mute, and then I'm not saying I'm touching myself. I'm not. But I'm working. I'm working, right? But if I were to do that and I was at home and I'm still in the meeting and I hang up and I don't turn on my camera, I haven't done anything wrong, right? I'm just multitasking. I'm just saying. I'm weird like that.
Okay.
But if he was in the office, that would be a crime, right? I'm just trying to say, like, you can't do that in the office. That's a criminal act. But at home, it's COVID. There are no rules. Anyway, that's me. I'm not a lawyer, so I have no clue. That's just me thinking out loud. That's all. Anyway, the whole situation is hilarious.
I don't think he thought it was hilarious at the time.
Well, obviously, if you get caught, that's that. Yeah. That's like seeing, there's a commercial, right? Where the camera falls and we see that he's in his underwear. That's like everybody's nightmare, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, there was another guy who was he was just wearing a shirt and tie and he was wearing no pants.
Right. Same diff. Yes. Well, that's not as bad.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's not as bad. It's like I'm wearing right now, I have like this shirt and pajama pants, but you don't know that until I tell you. Right? Because pajama pants are awesome. Anyway, that was an awesome digression. Thank you. Okay. Total digression. So you're a nerd in high school. So that tells us a lot about you already in our minds. Like that means like you've got the achiever gene, right? You want to achieve a lot, right? I didn't never have that. So I'm just saying like that's different about you. Right? Is that a good statement or not? I mean, did you always want to achieve?
Not really.
Interesting.
When it came to school, yes, but I'm not a competitive. I'm not a competitive person.
Interesting. Okay.
A lot of people are really competitive. Like my brother is competitive, and guys tend to be a lot more competitive. But for me, I always like to compete with myself because I knew deep down that the only person I could compete with was myself.
Interesting.
If I'm anyone who's better than me at some things, I can't be the best at absolutely everything. And I think that places on you such terrible pressure.
Yes. Right.
But I've always thought that I have to give things my best. And as life just, hit me hard many, many times later on, I came to embrace my inner underachiever and I love her. So instead of being like a type A, I'm now like a type A- or B+.
Interesting. Okay.
And I like it. I think my life is a lot more relaxed now.
But back then, like the younger version of you, were you like the type A classic overachiever personality that has since changed, or were you never that way?
No, I have not. I don't consider myself an overachiever, and perhaps I'm deluding myself. I think you're better off asking someone else.
That's probably true. Yeah. I mean, like when I think about me, like I think like my growing up in the Midwest in the States, sort of like that Protestant work ethic that's a big deal there, sort of rubs off your parents and everybody. Right? It's like when you're at work, you're working, right? You're not screwing around, right? And I carried that into the military when I was 18, and it got me really far, but it also got me in trouble because not everybody has that. Not everybody in the Air Force is from the Midwest. Everybody's from everywhere, right? There's people from everywhere. And not everybody has that same level of work ethic. And you bring it in there and you just seem like a dork sometimes. It's like, why aren't we working all the time? Right?
Oh, God. Yeah. Right. For the obvious reasons.
Yes. Because, life is fun sometimes, right? So I have definitely chilled on that work ethic, but I always had it and it's still there, right? So I still get like, I guess I'm proud of trying to be a good worker, if that makes sense. Like not screw around so much. Like it's okay to have fun, but get work done first, right? Like
I party hard, work hard, party hard.
Exactly. That is the Air Force motto. Yeah. Yeah. You get the work done and you have fun doing it. And then you have a beer, right? Or whatever you want to drink, right?
Oh, you don't drink at work?
Good for you.
Yes, I'm a writer.
Right.
And, it's funny because I look at the old movies when people had the bottles of brandy at work and I'm
And
like,
that's
I
how
missed
awesome.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I I've been working from home for quite some time.
Right.
And especially when I'm writing and I say, I embrace my inner Hemingway and people go, good. And it's like it goes way over their heads. It's like,
I get it.
I just drink.
Yes.
I write.
And it works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hemingway got it right.
There's a certain level of drunk that just changes you in the right way. And I've noticed this. It sort of like chills out the inner critic just enough. Now, obviously, if you're getting shit-faced, then it's all just sloppy and gross. So you're honing in on that, like, how much can I drink and still be a little bit productive? Or are you just getting hammered and silly? I don't know.
No, when I'm right. Are you kidding?
Okay.
No, I write about very serious subjects in a lighthearted way.
Okay.
No, it's just, it's like the stress of having to produce something.
Totally.
Yeah.
I get it. No, usually a lot of times when I'm editing the podcast, I do it like right out of bed. But sometimes like life gets in the way and I edit in beer time. So that's how I always have to check those.
You always should. You never know.
Okay. So eventually you take your nerdiness and your academic achiever kind of personality. And how did you decide, or when did you decide to go to law school? Because that's an interesting question.
You skipped college. Those were my best years.
Oh, well, let's not skip college then. What was college like? That was
I love college.
Okay. Where did you go to college?
Great. Syracuse University.
Syracuse. Oh, lovely.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah. It was
Talk
great
about
fun. It was a shock coming from Puerto Rico where the weather is usually 85 plus.
Right.
To a place where, when it's 50 degrees, people are out naked on the quad because it's so toasty.
Yeah. That's yes. So I grew up in Michigan. So like,
okay,
you get your first 38-degree weather in like April and the sun is out and the snow is melting. You're like, I can take my boots off. Yay. Yeah. It's a party. It's almost 40. Let's party. Yeah.
That's right. People don't understand that elsewhere, but Right. So, the weather shock aside, it was really wonderful because I had a lot of freedom.
Okay.
I mean, being such a sheltered kid over protective parents, going to college was very liberating. And I had a lot of fun and I worked really hard and I partied really hard.
Good.
I think in retrospect, I worked too hard.
Okay.
I think I'm very academic. And for me, academic achievement was like my area where I feel like I need to shine. It's not like I have to be the best at everything.
Okay.
And so I did well in school. And I had a really good time. It was just such a liberating time in your life when you're for the first time. You get to make your own decisions and what you do has impact directly. And you're doing things because you feel like doing them, not because your parents are telling you to or guilting you into it.
Right. Okay. So when you went to college, was your major like pre-law? Like, did you know you were going to be a lawyer? Okay. Gotcha.
Hell no. My dad wanted me to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay. All right.
I wanted to be a journalist. And my dad was not in agreement with that. I always wanted to be a writer. And he's like, I don't pay for bullshit majors.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So we negotiated and I agreed to go to business school and journalism school as a double major.
Ouch. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. So it was a lot of work, especially at journalism school.
Journalism school demanding. Yeah. It's kind of like a high standard kind of school. Yes. Yeah.
It was so strict that each typo would cost you a letter grade.
Oh my goodness. That's insane.
That was excellence. And I'm glad they did it because the first time I got a C that could have been an A.
Right. Because of a couple of typos.
That was an awakening.
Right.
Yes. Because, it was an adjustment from, and it was not my first language. I was going to a demanding school in my second language.
Yes.
So, it was a tough program, but I'm glad I did it. What my dad did, asked me to do. And so law was not in the cards until later.
Okay.
And how that came about, I got married when I was 24.
Right.
And I was too young and too
Sure.
sheltered. So I found out within 24 hours of the wedding that my husband was a psychologically abusive man.
Wow.
So yeah,
24 hours?
24 hours on the way to the honeymoon.
My goodness. How does that happen? I mean, walk us through how that happens.
That was like awful.
I know, but before those 24 hours, you thought he was awesome enough to marry.
Absolutely.
And how long had you been like engaged, courting, dating?
We had been together for 3 years. We had been together for 3 years. Yes.
Wow.
We got married. And on the way to the honeymoon, on the airplane to Mexico, he just got in my face and said, everything's going to change from now on. And
wow.
he started.
So where's he from?
My family. He's from a foreign country.
You don't want to say. Okay.
I don't want to say.
Okay.
Yeah,
a foreign country. Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's okay. No, I get it. I'm going to respect his and her, you and yours, his and the privacy. I'll respect the privacy. Yes.
Yeah. I don't like to give certain details.
That's fine.
I like
That's fine.
to protect the guilty.
I understand. I understand. So,
yes.
But the marriage was the switch where he said, okay, this is how it's going to be. Like immediately.
Those are the words he said. This is the way it's going to be. Were you there?
No, you said them already.
I did.
I'm just repeating. So sorry.
Okay. So he said that everything's going to change, and he was just very verbally abusive on the plane. It's like, where do you do from there? You know, where do you go from there? It was very shocking. I was very young, naive. My parents would have killed me. You know, I just kept on having my mom's voice in my head. It's like, you should have figured that out before we paid for the wedding.
Right.
So,
man.
Yeah. So it was very difficult for me. And then I had the job from hell. So it's like, you know, going from charmed childhood to like all hell breaking loose when you're in your early 20s.
Right. So this must have been like after you graduated from college, right? From Syracuse?
Yes. Okay. I graduated when I was 21.
So you were dating in college or, no.
No, we met my last semester in college.
Okay.
Yes. So we dated for 3 years, get married. And then I find myself, you know, in a marriage from hell, in a job from hell. And it's like at 25, I'm like complaining to my dad, my life is at a dead end. I hate my job. And he says again, because he had to rub it in.
Right.
That's what happens when smart people go for stupid majors.
Wow. Okay. Yikes.
And he said, you should have gone to law school. And this time it just ran.
Well, you were sort of like, a little vulnerable at that moment and kind of feeling like, well, I really screwed the pooch on this, right? I mean, right?
I do not torture myself that way. No.
Good for you. Good for you. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me.
That's right. And to your listeners, do not treat yourselves that way. It's not nice.
Well, so how were you feeling? Tell us.
I just felt like I was trapped and I needed a way out. I needed a way out.
Right.
And when my dad said that, I'm like, yeah, maybe. And my job, another thing that I haven't said at any other podcast. This is the first time I say this.
Okay.
But I also at my job, I was doing HR at the time, and I was working with the International Compensation and Benefits, and I did all the legwork when people, we were bringing foreign people to work in the U.S., the visas, and I also got to pay the lawyers' bills. And I'm like, I should be the one making the money, not this guy. I'm doing the work.
Right.
So I said, you know what? Maybe, yes, I should be going to law school. And it was the best thing I ever did for myself because it put a buffer between me and my husband. I was working full time.
Right.
I was going to school at night. I didn't get home till 11 o'clock, left home by 7 or something like that.
Right.
So it was just like a relief to be
away from him.
From that. Yeah. Taken away from that. Right. And it also gave me a new sense of empowerment.
I was going to say,
the academic stimulation. That,
and now this is going to be a question. So did you see like graduating with a law degree, passing the bar is sort of like a light at the end of the tunnel, kind of like something pulling you forward as a goal.
Yes, I knew it would open doors, many opportunities,
right. because then
it's the kind of degree you can do anything you want. You don't even have to practice.
Right. And you also like can assume you're going to be able to make, ends meet without him would be something that was that on your mind? Like I can be a little bit more. No. Okay, good. All right, go ahead. I'm guessing. So this is how I play. I just guess. Right.
But it's an important point that you're bringing up because many people stay in abusive relationships because they depend financially on their mates.
That's where I was going.
And it is a very, very, yes, I'm huge on financial empowerment.
Sure.
But I had a good job. I mean, I went to a good school. I had a good job. It paid well. I made more money than he did.
Mm.
And so
already.
Yeah,
interesting.
Well, yes. Yes. I was a good student.
No. So I guess when I'm saying these things, I'm like, so at some point I want to say like, what did it take for you to get away? Well, how did you get out of the marriage? Right? What changed in your mind that said, okay, I need to get out of this? I know that's a toughie. I get it. That's hard.
Not really, because you see, the reason why people stay in relationships that are toxic and unhealthy very often also has to do with feeling disempowered. And we tend to look at abusive relationships in ways that are unilateral. For instance, a lot of the programs to help domestic abuse survivors center on financial empowerment, right?
Okay.
But there is also a huge element of personal disempowerment that comes with someone who is just trying constantly to chip away at your self-esteem.
Okay. All right.
So the financial part was not an aspect of it, but having someone constantly berating me, somebody being psychologically abusive and trying to demean me continuously. So by going to school, I felt empowered. I felt like I had another community. I was not just isolated, because that's another thing that happens in abusive relationships, right?
This is interesting. So
the abusers try to isolate you. Yes.
Before you go to school, so the school is almost like Idea Lab. The marriage is an echo chamber of negativity, right?
Yes,
and
constant
you
negativity.
Going to law school is like, oh, that's not the world. That's the relationship, right? You have another perspective that is empowering instead of, not.
Exactly. And you have community. And I think one of the worst things is that when you're in these relationships, you end up losing your community because you are just trapped with this person who makes it very difficult for you to be around others.
Right.
And it was really empowering, and knowing I had the options. And of course, I worked with a counselor. And that's one thing that I highly recommend to anyone who's hurting in a relationship, who's trying to make hard decisions. You need to work with a neutral third party who's going to listen to you without judgment.
Okay.
So I had a really wonderful therapist I worked with early on when I was at my most vulnerable. So all these things came together, not necessarily by design. I will admit that.
Right.
It was by default. It just, instinctively, I just made these different moves that together got me out of that. And it just got to a point where we were traveling once. We were in the Czech Republic. We were in a subway. It was in Vienna. I was traveling, and he started berating me in the subway in front of everyone. And I just stopped looking at him, like in the subway in New York City, when there's the lunatic yelling and everybody's like looking away. I just did that. And I said, what happens behind closed doors does not have to come out in the world. So I decided at that point, I'm done.
That was the moment where you made that decision. Okay. Amazing.
Right. I know I had to make that decision, but that was the moment when I said the time is now. This
right,
is it.
Right.
Like,
wow.
That was the bee in the bonnet.
The proverbial last needle in the whatever. The last shoe drops. Let's get all the cliches in here. But okay, that's the moment where you make the decision. So how long after that moment did it take you to just end the marriage and get out? I mean, that in and of itself is, that's hard. It's hard.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Right. So talk a little bit about ending the marriage, and then we'll move on to the next phase.
Well, that part, I mean, like once you feel empowered to make that decision, once you...
Right. Everything else is just details.
Right. It's like you just need to get to that point of determination.
Yeah.
When you feel empowered enough to carry it out. Because, and I know deep down, being a divorce lawyer and having worked with a lot of different people in similar situations, it is that ambivalence that you have, should I, shouldn't I, what if?
Right.
And you're playing all these different scenarios. And then you get to that point where it's like, I don't care.
Right.
This is the right course. And I'm pushing ahead regardless, no matter what.
Yes. That's the big, I would say that, vroom, vroom, veer is all about this going from the stuck, that's like vroom, vroom. So all of the stuff with the abuse and the ambivalence, that's vroom, vroom. You're kind of like stuck on a decision that you haven't made yet. And then the veer is that moment where you make that decision. And like you said, like I have really lame examples in my life, but yours is awesome because you have that train moment, right? It's very clear. It's like, there he is again. He's doing that thing. And I'm out here in public now. And this has to stop. Right. And you just made this has to stop. Right. I have to get out of this. This is over. At that moment, it was over. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The rest is details.
The rest is details.
Right.
That's the key feature. It's like, okay, all right, now I can go and make the escape plan. Right. Okay. I got to move out and then I got to hire a lawyer. Right. It's all details. Right. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So, all right. So you get out of the marriage. And now you're a lawyer? Was that sort of, or were you still in law school? What was the timing there?
It was the last semester in law school. So I had to,
okay.
it was rough,
and
rough. It's amazing. Wow. But when you get to that point, when you're breaking through, it's like, it's like
you have this new energy. I know.
Exactly. It's like psychological adrenaline.
Totally. Yes. I've been in that space where you've made a decision and now you have a list of shit to do and you're just like knocking it off. Right? It's like, why can't I get shit done like this all the time? Right.
Yeah. But you know what? Because it takes so much energy to put it together.
Yeah.
But you have it within you. And that's what's really my point. That's what I like to teach people.
Okay.
That you have it all within.
Right.
You just need to bring it together, believe that you can do it, and the way will reveal itself.
Right. It's almost like the hardest part is figuring out what you're not deciding.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Yeah.
It's the awareness part. To me, everything boils down
it starts to awareness. Right.
Awareness is the pinnacle of everything in life, because when you are just going on autopilot and when you're sleepwalking, you can't make change. What are the odds that you're going to get to where you need to if you're sleepwalking?
And there's so many different things that go into, like, just physically, right? Your brain needs so many things to be as aware as it can be, right? So it might be you just decide, because you were so damn busy, you decide, I'm not going to have that many drinks tonight. And you go to bed early because you're just wiped out. And then the next day, your brain was like, wow, I'm on like less alcohol and more sleep. It could be as random as that. Yes. Right. I've had so many of those. Just like, oh, wait, I'm not hungover. My brain works so much better now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I digress. Anyway, so you get the awareness, you get out of the marriage. So what was the next chapter? You still had to get divorced, obviously. So let's assume that happened. It probably was a big battle. So if you want to talk about that, that's fine. Okay. No, not a big battle. Okay, good.
Not at all. No. And I think if you get to know me, you know that when I'm determined, there's no stopping me.
Okay, good. I like that.
And I was absolutely resolute in this. And I was an almost lawyer. I divorced myself, actually.
Okay.
I was almost a lawyer.
Right.
And
so you knew how to do everything. You just couldn't sign the papers, kind of thing. I don't even know how that works.
No, but I had a lawyer friend who gave me, the form of papers. All I needed to do was just sign them, send them to the court. She told me what to do. I did it.
Okay.
And that was easy. That took only a few weeks.
Oh, awesome.
Because there was nothing to fight about. And I think that's why. Gotcha. And that's one of the things I like to tell people. That's part of my message here, that when people go through the divorce, it's so much more painful because they're fighting over the money and the most important thing. Yes, it's your happiness.
Right.
You deserve to be happiness. And if you're going to be hung up on who gets the house, who gets this, who gets that, or worse, trying to screw the other person over.
Right.
You can't rebuild your life.
Right. Right. Totally. Did you watch that movie with now I can't remember anybody's name.
Which one? Marriage Story?
The Marriage Story. Yes. Wasn't that just so sad? My goodness.
Yes, it was. And I have written
But it happens
it.
a lot. I mean, it plays out that way. It's sad though. It's like both people are successful and have money. That is sort of like the scenario that's like the worst, because then it's like, okay, this one's got a friend and she's got a lawyer friend, and it's like, they started out like it looked like they might even like maybe divorce, but amicably, but then no. Then the other people get in the other people's ears and it just all goes to shit.
Exactly. And that's really critical because people take sides. Lawyers can sometimes instigate people to fight.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be that way. And people need to know that there's alternatives and that there's better ways of doing things. Because again, it's all about rebuilding your life.
Yeah. It's not about, it's almost like people get into this, I want to win the divorce. It's crazy.
And it's stupid.
And you're not going to win. Guess who's going to win? Both lawyers.
The lawyers.
Right.
Their kids are going to go to college with your kids' college fund.
Right. Because you're going to be broke because you're paying all those hours. Yes, I know.
Yes. So and and since we can speak very honestly and roughly in this podcast.
Yes, please.
My mom was very colorful in her speech.
Okay.
And
I love color.
Said, you can't throw shit at others without getting it on your hands.
That's true. You're right.
So if you're going to be trying to create a shitstorm for your partner, it's just going to blow back on you.
Totally. I mean, how are they going to respond to that? How can if there's no, unless they're Jesus, there's no other way to respond to that than throw the shit back. Right? Exactly. That's just what humans do.
Fighting shit with shit.
Exactly. It's a shit flinging party. Okay. So, all right. So now you're divorced and eventually you become a lawyer. We know this, right? Mm-hmm. And you get remarried, right? So let's talk about that period of life and get some stories out of that.
Well, actually, and it's funny because one of the questions I get all the time is, when do you start dating again? How do you put yourself out there again?
Right.
And for me, my marriage was so oppressive. I had no desire to remarry or date or anything like that.
Okay.
So I devoted the 4 following years to have a blast.
Good for you.
And I didn't date. I had a lot of friends.
Right.
I started taking on hobbies. I picked up hiking, which was something I always wanted to do.
Okay.
And I started just pursuing. It gave me a brand new group of friends.
Okay.
Most of them, we were all single in our early 30s.
Okay.
And we had such
a good
time.
Group.
Oh, it was great. It was absolutely awesome. We were always having a lot of fun.
Okay.
I traveled a lot.
Sounds fun.
And
what sorts of places did you go? Some fun places like hiking trips?
Oh, I did the Inca Trail in Peru to Machu Picchu.
Wow.
That was one of the funnest things. Yeah, that was awesome.
You can't hike to Machu Picchu, can you?
Yes, you can.
You can? Wow. Maybe you can. I don't think I can.
Oh, I don't know that I could do that now.
But then you could. Okay.
Yeah, I
Is
did
that
then.
do they have a train that goes up there or not?
I think now they even have a helicopter.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So if you're lazy, you can still get there. But there's nothing like going on that trek.
The hike
was really wonderful.
I mean, if you just take a helicopter, that's kind of cheating.
Exactly.
It's less fun.
Yeah.
It's not so much of an adventure as just paying money. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that sounds awesome though. Yeah.
Oh, it was wonderful. I got to sail the Aegean Sea on a goulette boat.
Wow.
Which was phenomenal. That was really fun. Yeah, so I traveled a lot. I'm a traveler. I have been since I was a high
I like
schooler.
the way you say you're a traveler and not a tourist because it sounds like you know the difference. It's like take your time, don't hit all the highlights, that kind of thing. Does that resonate with you at all? I mean,
I have evolved as a traveler. I always enjoyed meeting people and the cultural aspects of it. And I always go to the local dives and meet the locals.
Good.
And
yeah.
Yeah, but I did have to see all the sites.
Well,
I was obsessive.
You don't have to skip all the sites, but I mean, like I call my wife she's like all she wants. I love her. I'm keeping her. Okay. But we all have our little pet peeves, right? So like I'm trying to now that we're getting close to not working anymore and just traveling full time at some point real soon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. That I'm looking forward to that. So right now, obviously, because we both have jobs, right? Everything is time crunched and we've been that way since forever because that's how it is. You only have so much time off, right? So she's just kind of obsessive about like every trip and she went to school to be a travel agent, right? So she's like, just like, okay, we've got an hour here, an hour here, an hour here, an hour here. And I get to the hotel at the end and we saw a lot of stuff and I'm just like wiped out. I want a sandwich and a beer. I would rather take my time, and just like kind of go a little bit slower. Yes, let's get the sights in, but let's take our time, do it slow and just, have some wine.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not driving, right?
Oh yeah.
Just enjoy it, smell the air, talk to a local, see if anybody speaks English, whatever, but try to be not the, the guy following the lady with the flag. It's just like,
oh, I hate that. You won't catch me.
Oh,
I never did. I'm an independent traveler.
Right. Okay. See, my wife loves to book those where you follow the flag lady. Right. So I have to get her off of that spot. It'll take some time. I'll love her either way. It'll be my thing to do. It'll be okay.
But it's worth it. I just love to I create my own schedules. And now actually my husband and he drives everywhere, which is one of the best things about this guy. And he doesn't drink, so he can drive.
That's awesome.
It's perfect.
My wife doesn't drink, but she also doesn't drive so much. So she'll drive. Like if we drive from Vegas to LA, we'll pick like an easy piece of freeway and she's okay for like 2 hours, which I'm great. That's awesome. Especially if I'm sleepy, I can take a snooze. I don't have to worry about her crashing as long as she doesn't have to do anything difficult, like drive in LA, which I get it.
I wouldn't want to do that.
I get it. It's really, I've done it for so long that it's not a big deal to me, but like, it drives her nuts. Right. So I mean, it's all good. I could talk about that forever, but while I was like late 30s, early 40s, I had a lot of pain, like muscle pain, like hip pain, and it made it really hard to drive long distance. That was a veer for me. I went to Portland for a thing. I know we're really digressing here, but it's fun. I went to Portland, and Portland is a great city to walk around in, so I didn't have a rental car, and all I was doing was using trains and walking. Trains, buses, public transportation, and walking. And that's when I realized that there was something desperately wrong because everything in the lower half of my body was just always in pain. And I was like, come on, I'm 38. I'm not old. What's going on? Right. So that eventually led me to go to like massage school, clean up my diet, and it made everything better. I cleaned up all of that pain and it's gone now. And then when it comes back, I can fix it. So that the moral of the story is if you're feeling pain in your body, you don't need surgery, and you could probably fix it by yourself. Anyway, I digress.
Okay, so to bring in a nerd note.
Okay, please.
You're always digressing. So to quote my beloved humorist, James Thurber,
Okay.
life is full of interruptions.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so we're getting close to the end, as I'm noticing now. Do you have a hard quit, like at the top of the hour? Do you have another thing, or can you go another few minutes?
Oh, we can talk.
Okay,
This is fun. I'm having a lot of fun.
Oh, good. Me too.
until my husband walks through that door and walks through the to the bathroom
and then opens up the door and then makes a noise that we don't want to hear. Yes, I understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Or just gets the dogs all rattled.
Yes. Okay. Well, okay. But we will start wrapping up. But so let's get to the point where you, how did you meet your current husband?
We met online.
Okay.
That's something I can say now because it's legit now. It's acceptable. I wouldn't do it now. But back then when we met, we've been together 22 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. And we met online, and I was looking at the time for a traveling companion.
Okay.
Because I just love to travel, and he seemed to be perfect for that, which he is. We travel really well together.
Good.
And I realized he was a catch, and he liked me, and it's like, I'm not letting this one go.
Good for you. So you weren't looking for a romantic situation at that point. You were just looking for somebody to, like a friend almost.
Right, like a companion. Somebody to carry my suitcases.
And drive you around.
And drive, yes.
You would get along with my wife really well. Do you like to shop, by the way?
I'm not that much of a shopper.
Yeah, she just like lives to shop.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But she likes it.
It's weird. So she also likes to sell stuff. So now, like, her thing is she likes to go to LA and buy used books and then sell them on eBay. And when she gets a sale, it's like the best hit of I don't know what sort of brain chemical, but she's really happy.
Oh my. I can relate to that. When I sell a book, I get very excited.
Of course. It's your book. But same thing. It's the joy of selling, which is something I don't really share, but I appreciate it and celebrate it with her, So like I've got the eBay app on my phone, and it does this little cash register sound. Ka-ching! Every time she gets a sale, and I have to text her, another sale.
Oh, that's nice.
And she
I
gets
love
excited.
that sound. I wish I could have that every time I sell a book on Amazon.
You could probably figure that out. Cha-ching. Okay, so you've been married now to current hubby for, what did you say, 22 years?
We've been together. We dated for 7 years. Remember,
good for
I was
you.
not in a rush to get married.
Right, good for you.
So, yes, we've been married for 15.
Okay, and it sounds like it's working out. Awesome.
Yes, we're having a lot of fun traveling the world.
So what are you doing? Let's talk a little bit about SoniaFrontera.com and talk about like your books and what you're doing now. I know you're still a lawyer. You're still practicing as a lawyer, but you're veering maybe to a new gig. And what do you want to do now? So let's talk about that.
Yes, I do have a lot of different things I'm doing.
Right.
So I was working as a litigator for a long time, and then I became ill. That was another veer for me. I got migraines,
Ouch.
Daily migraines. Yeah, I was disabled for a full year, solid migraines.
Yeah.
So
those are hard. They're very tricky. So yeah, you feel lucky that it only took you a year. My wife is still, it's like, yes, I get it. I'm just trying to sympathize.
Yeah, I still get them.
Yeah.
I still get them.
Right.
3 or 4 times a month.
You have to figure out your triggers and all that. And right. Yes.
Yes. But it made me have to give up the kind of law I was practicing at the time. And someone suggested I practice collaborative divorce. And so I opened my own firm. Yes, I opened my own firm. And being the best boss I ever had, I gave myself the freedom to write a book. I was inspired to write my first book, Solve the Divorce Dilemma. Do you keep your husband or do you post him on Craigslist?
I love that title.
It's a great title. It's a great book.
Yes.
Yes, and I was inspired to write it because I went to a retreat for women regarding forgiveness, and a lot of women were hurting in their marriages or past divorces. And I knew that my story, my experience, personally and professionally, could help people who are in that situation where they're trying to decide whether to stay together or divorce, and how to empower yourself to carry out the decision and move forward in freedom. So that
Right.
was the first book, and the guys were reading my book
The
and
guys.
complaining.
Okay.
The guys were reading and complaining that this book is biased. I'm like, what do you expect? It's for women. So I decided, I mean, really.
That's okay.
Yeah. But anyway, I decided to be fair to the guys, and I decided to write a gender neutral book because there was an interest, obviously, that I was told by the publishing industry that no, guys don't like those things, but they do, and they need it. So I published Relationship Solutions, Effective Strategies to Heal Your Heart and Create the Happiness You Deserve.
Okay.
And that is the book runs the full spectrum of relationship issues from being unhappily married through
Right.
Making the decision, carrying out the divorce, and moving forward.
Right.
And what I really like, as much as I love writing, I really like to meet people personally and do workshops because it's so much more fun. I mean, like person to person, it is so much more powerful, especially
Right.
in groups.
Yes.
You know, when people we're mirrors of one another, when we can.
There's some sort of magic chemistry too when you get a room full of people trying to work on so I'm there working on my stuff, right? But what happens when you get those groups together is you start working on other people's stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I went through that and this is what I did. And that ends up helping other people. So it's like you're connecting other brains together and you get more brain power.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
totally.
You see yourself in others, and you also
Right.
feel less isolated.
Right.
Because we all think all these tragedies that are going on in our
It's all
lives.
personal and it
No.
only happens to me. Yes.
Exactly. You're
Right.
so special. You know,
Right,
you're the
right.
only person who's hurting when
Right,
you see
right.
that other people have not only they have gone through that
Right.
and you feel less alone, you see that there's a way out because somebody
Right.
else has done it. So it's also encouraging. So I think bringing people together, and I really hate the Zoom thing where, you know, we're just looking at screens. I can't wait for us to get together in the room because
Totally.
it is so powerful and it's transformative. And that's what I want to be doing more of.
I think the pandemic, if nothing else, the one of the big silver linings will inoculate us to not like being on Zoom and things like that, right? It will really, really appreciate being able to see each other and not just see,
Yes.
but, you know, like hug,
Yes.
actually be in the same space, you know, and
Yes.
yeah, right. It's a big difference. It's huge.
Yes.
Just yesterday was the first time I saw my coworkers, all of them all at once in 2 years, more than
How
2
did
years.
that feel?
It was amazing. I didn't want to leave, but I was on work hours. So my lunch 2 hours was up, so I had to go, but I didn't want to, I just wanted to hang out and, stay for hours and hours and hours. We're social animals, we need, contact, with humans.
Yes.
So good
I
for
can't
you.
wait.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
So, if you ever get a chance, look at Vegas because Vegas is a really good spot for doing workshops. And you don't necessarily need to be on the strip. I'm just saying infrastructure wise, you got lots of hotels, lots of meeting rooms all over. Right. So I had a buddy and I met a whole group and he had all of his workshops in Vegas. Now, you may not want to do them on the strip or downtown. You don't have to. Doesn't seem like the right vibe. It doesn't feel retreaty to me. But, there's like a big hotel by Red Rock. So you would have a hiking opportunity not that
Nice.
far away. Right. Just some ideas,
Yes. I think, you know what, doing retreats in nature is very powerful.
Totally. Yes. Yeah. Those are like, if you can set up a retreat that includes a campfire that, stays pretty much hot all the time, that would be perfect for me. So I can go out there and just start poking a stick into a fire and then have a chat about life, the universe, and everything, that would be my happy place. I would
Well,
never.
that sounds like Vegas in August.
I've never had a campfire in Vegas. I kind of need to leave to get.
No, I bet if you get a marshmallow, put it in a stick, and just like stand
That's
there in
true.
August.
That's
'Cause
true.
I had a conference in Vegas. I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, don't
It
come
was
in the summertime.
In June. It's like, who the hell decided to have this here?
Right. Well, yeah. If you want to come to Vegas, make it like I guess
December.
maybe like fall or spring, and not summer. Right, fall or spring. Not winter either. Winter's kind of cold. I mean,
Really?
it depends on where you're coming from, obviously. But winter's mild, but still not. It's not like your t-shirts and shorts. You know, like this morning it was 33 degrees. You know, so
Oh, that's cold.
that's cold. That's cold. Well, thank you so much, Sonia, for hanging out with me for about an hour. So people can get in touch with you at soniafrontera.com. Am I saying that all right?
You said it right.
All
So
right.
you can reach me there and connect with me on social media.
Perfect. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.